this legislation does, and I want to thank Greg Warner, he's back there, he's my chief counsel. But it's counterintuitive what we're doing here with this legislation. It's like we're saying that we are looking at people, and we can be tough on crime, but we also have to be smart on crime. And what this legislation does, what it does is it, because we have reentry programs, because we are paying attention to the individuals that come into our system and make sure that they don't come back, because right now we have a 43% recidivism rate. This is going to reduce that, and the governor knows that, and that's what he's pushed. So it's going to reduce the recidivism rate. That will make our streets safer. And also, it also saves lives, because these individuals, now we're putting them back into society as productive members of society. And then finally, which is near and dear to all of us, and hundreds of millions of dollars over the first 5 years, but that doesn't take into consideration the monies that these individuals that we save are going to be productive citizens again, and be putting money into their, it doesn't take into consideration the way that we're stopped building prisons at $200, $300 million a prison and $50 million a year to maintain them. That's all stopped now. Thank you, Governor, for your support and backing. We wouldn't be here today without you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. In my experience in 8 years in the House, this is one committee that really works truly in a bipartisan fashion, and we get legislation out of committee, through the House floor, over to the Senate, and fortunately on days like this, we bring it full circle and bring it to the governor for signature. There are many people to thank here today. Certainly the members of the House who are here that supported the legislation, but this justice reinvestment, both parts of it, the initial part that was done back in June and this follow-up piece in House Bill 135, would not have made it here without a lot of hard work by a lot of organizations and individuals. And I can't name all of them because I'm sure I'll forget some. But I did want to focus on the work of former Governor Leader and his family on this project, the work of the Commonwealth Foundation, working together with a large group of folks, which even included the ACLU and other groups, law enforcement organizations, the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police, the DAs, the counties. I especially want to point attention to the Council of State Governments, and Mark Pelka is back here, and he was the guy behind the scenes. Most of brought the resources of the CSG Justice Center to this project and gave it real credibility by attaching some numbers to the ideas that were being promoted. And he's been able to help us see where in other states where they've done these kinds of things, it has resulted not only in some bottom line savings to the budget, but also by being able to reinvest into local law enforcement and victim assistance and the county's probation and parole. It brings a better result to the people who are affected by these issues as well. So it's my pleasure to introduce the prime sponsor of this bill, John Sabatina from the 174th District in Philadelphia, who allowed his bill to become the vehicle for something much larger. His original bill was good too, but it's become something much larger through the work of everybody in this room. John?
And I want to also thank the members, the chairman of both the House and Senate Judiciary for tweaking my bill ever so slightly. A good bill that Senator Greenleaf alluded to. It's not only tough on crime, but it's smart on crime. It reinvests the money saved back into the criminal justice system, back into great organizations like the PCCD, the Department of Corrections, the Commission on Sentencing, and the Commission on, basically reinvest money into them to further save money down the line. And at a time in the Commonwealth when we're actually, the costs of incarceration exceed the cost of education, this bill is right on time, and I'm glad to be here, and it's probably the most important piece of legislation that we've passed this session. And I'm not just saying that.
As you know, the governor is a man of few words, especially when it comes to taking credit for things. But make no bones about it, who led this effort. From day one of this administration, we put a target on improving the correction system and the criminal justice system. taking a balanced approach, but taking a research-based, common sense approach. And if you feel crowded in this room, you should be, because this process was crowded. And it would be very easy for the governor, with his credibility, to come up with some plan and just roll it out. And I could bully people into doing it, I think, or at least try. But that's not the right way to do things. The right way is to get everybody around the table. And unfortunately, Governor Leader couldn't be here, but really, that was the first group we reached out to, and the Commonwealth Foundation, and the ACLU, and a multidisciplinary group from the right and from the left and from the middle, whatever that means, and look at what the right thing to do is. And so when you look around the room and you see counties, and you see law enforcement, and you see the prison society and other advocacy groups, this is the right way to do it. You know, somebody said that good politics is good government. This is good government. This is looking at what we're trying to accomplish as a system, and looking what the research says is effective, and then getting that done. And keep in mind, both of these bills passed unanimously. And it's because there was no secrets, because it was a transparent process, because we
with Senator Greenleaf, Senator Leach, Senator Udicek, Senator Rafferty, and Senator Corbett are all here. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, you've heard from Representative Grell and Sabatini. Representative Toohill is here. Representative Topol, Representative Clymer is here also. Did I miss anybody? No, I don't think I missed anybody. If I did, let me apologize at this point in time. What's interesting about those introductions is their bipartisan introductions. What's interesting about this legislation, among all the other things, is it's bipartisan. Crime has been with us since first recorded in the Bible when Cain was murdered Abel. And throughout the centuries, every society has searched for a way to put it to an end. One of the ways was to build prisons, open halfway houses, create parole, create probation, create treatment, and used every imaginable way to punish the criminals. And I believe, as you well know, I'm pretty tough, criminals should be punished. But as a society, we cannot believe in justice unless we balance that punishment with rehabilitation. And that's why I'm here today to sign the bills. As noted, Senator Greenleaf introduced corrections legislation as justice, in order to work, must be administered with firmness, with compassion, and with common sense. Every year in this country, nearly 900,000 men and women are released from American prisons and go back into their neighborhoods and to society. Right now, while the United States accounts for only 5% of the population of the world, we hold nearly 25% of the world's prisoners. And in the past 25 years, the prison population of the U.S. has grown to 2.3 million people. Just here in Pennsylvania, that number is now more than 51,000. John, where are you? Are we still at 51? We're creeping down a little bit. When I was working as chairman of the Commission on Crime and Delinquency, I see some of the people that were working here with me then, they're still working here. I think it was about 23 or 24,000 in 1996. So I want you to think of how that has almost doubled. Because we jail so many people, return so many of them to jail after they've been released on parole, our corrections budget has continued to grow. I think, and everybody here in this room, I think, agrees with me, that we need to be smarter, we need to be more flexible, more adaptable, and more determined to solve crime and to prevent crime. That's why this past summer, I signed Senate Bill 100, the first step in our Justice Reinvestment Initiative. It tells us that the answer isn't always to build bigger prisons. Sometimes the answer lies in smarter solutions that help us build fewer prisons and better communities. Over the summer, the legislature will actually, at the end of the budget session in the fall, the legislature passed the first of two acts to make our system work better. The savings from Senate Bill 100 and House Bill 135 made it possible for us to create a Justice Reinvestment Fund. It enabled us to reorganize and use better our correctional resources. For example, certain offenders were made eligible for various sentencing alternatives that they did not have available before. They include motivational boot camps, secure community facilities, and various rehabilitation incentives. Those alternatives allow prisoners who show signs of rehabilitation to re-enter the community in a supervised system. Our newest component, House Bill 135, allows certain prisoners to serve their sentences in county institutions. This gives counties a chance to more closely monitor the people who will be returning to the streets in their counties, and gives families of the prisoners a chance to maintain ties. We have assigned a percentage of any savings from these reforms to go towards safe re-entry efforts for the communities to which prisoners will be released. That money will go to both nonprofit and for-profit agencies that specialize in helping prisoners, and helping those prisoners return to their home life once they have paid their debt to society. But equally as important, we will be setting aside funds to provide help to victim service organizations, as well as our statewide victim notification system. And we provide money to assist the victims of juvenile crimes. We must never forget that justice begins with the victims. We enacted this package of legislation first and foremost with an eye towards reducing crime, cutting down on the number of people who return to our prison system, cutting down on that revolving door. Still, another aspect of this effort is funding for innovative policing. There can be no justice without well-trained, certified, and continually educated law enforcement officers in my mind. The first and foremost guarantor of justice for any society is protection from crime. Our innovative policing initiative will make certain that law enforcement agencies around the state get assistance to update their technology. And as you know, that technology is changing almost by the hour. To train their officers and to attain accreditation. I think a side note here, that accreditation was started back about 1995, 1996, right, Jim? It started on a national level. Our agents, our state police, our local police officers could not afford the federal program. We created our own state program, and now we have many police departments who have been accredited across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania through our state program. And I want to thank those who have gone through that, because it's going to help them considerably. As the beginning of a new direction in corrections for Pennsylvania, we need to chart a course that allows justice and mercy to travel together and to seek a better state. Thank you all very much.